You're watching the 10 o'clock news on WUAB Channel 43, where the news comes first.
Who needs sales? Sun TV and Appliances has the guaranteed lowest prices every day. Don't let another major event slip by without getting it on tape. This RCA VHS camcorder has autofocus, power zoom, CCD pickup, high-speed shutter, and a Sun-believable price of just $577. Shop, Sun, and save. You get the guaranteed lowest prices under the sun.
The feel of the road, the look of the sky, the view of the world as it passes by.
The new 92 Mercury Sable, featuring over 200 refinements that make Sable smoother, quieter, more comfortable. From its restyled exterior to its newly contoured interior, plus safety features designed for your peace of mind. The new Mercury Sable.
All this in the quality of a Mercury.
What's a good demonstration of how powerful a vacuum is? How about paper clips? Jelly beans? Quarters, marbles, 3/4 inch nuts, 3/4 inch bolts, 3/4 inch nuts and bolts. What vacuum has this much power and a hose that lets you clean from floor to ceiling? The Regina Housekeeper Plus. Oh, the Housekeeper Plus also picks up dirt.
Robert Downey Jr. has discovered that he and Sybil Shepherd had a past life.
Alex?
Peekaboo. Now that could mean his girlfriend
Miranda.
is his daughter.
What?
It's way past your bedtime.
And her mother
Don't break that, it was father's.
could be his wife. But love in the hereafter presents quite a predicament
I am old enough to be your mother.
with Ryan O'Neal and Mary Stuart Masterson. Chances are. Premiering Sunday night at 8 on Channel 43.
A territory in southern Russia is described as highly explosive tonight. Nationalists in Chechen Ingush have blockaded streets and taken over the airport in the capital city today. The rebels are trying to prevent Russian soldiers from enforcing President Boris Yeltsin's emergency decree. The Muslim enclave of about 1 million people declared itself an independent republic a week ago. No injuries have been reported in the standoff. And the unrest spread into the sky when at least 4 armed men from that region hijacked a Soviet jetliner with more than 170 people aboard. Officials say Muslims armed with pistols and grenades commandeered the domestic flight earlier today and forced the pilot to fly to the Turkish capital of Ankara. The plane remained there for several hours before heading back to the Soviet Union. 2 of the men told authorities they hijacked the plane to protest the Russian Republic's crackdown in Chechen Ingush. Meanwhile, a 22-hour standoff at a German bank ended anything but peacefully. Police shot and killed a man who held 9 people at gunpoint. Officials say he was using the hostages as human shields to make his getaway from a bank near Cologne. None of the captives was hurt.
The Serbian-led Yugoslav army tonight is advancing on 2 important cities in Croatia, but President Bush and the European community are mounting an offensive of their own. Wrapping up a trip through Europe today, the president pledged U.S. support for a European package of economic sanctions.
We, the United States, have concluded that further measures must be taken to hold accountable those who place their narrow ambitions above the well-being of the peoples, and so therefore we will apply sanctions on Yugoslavia comparable to those of the EC.
Among the sanctions, banning textile imports and dropping Yugoslavia from an Eastern European recovery program. The president says he will also support a United Nations drive to halt oil exports to Yugoslavia. Meanwhile, Serbia has launched a fierce 7-hour assault on the besieged city of Dubrovnik. At the same time, Serbia is urging the UN to send in peacekeeping troops to stop the bloodshed. A frightening scene in Leipzig, Germany, and one all too reminiscent of the 1930s. Hundreds of neo-Nazis were on the march. They were marking the 53rd anniversary of Kristallnacht, the night of shattering glass when Nazis ransacked Jewish businesses and rounded up Jews for prison camps. Neo-fascists today shouted slogans like Germany for the Germans and Sieg Heil. Authorities believe neo-Nazi groups have stepped up their attacks on refugees flooding into Germany from Eastern Europe. But the neo-Nazis inspired counter-demonstrations here in Berlin and in more than 100 cities across Germany. Church and labor leaders joined tens of thousands of demonstrators to protest against racism and these increasing attacks on foreigners. One sign read, "Dear foreigners, don't leave us alone with these Germans." And one of history's ironies, today also marks the anniversary of an event as liberating and enlightening as Kristallnacht was frightening and repressive. Just 2 years ago, we were watching these remarkable scenes we thought we'd never see in our lifetime. After almost 3 decades, the Berlin Wall was finally coming down. The event ushered in the fall of communism and the unification of Germany, and it changed Eastern Europe and the world forever.
Another storm is fast approaching the Philippines as authorities struggle to aid the survivors of last week's tropical storm that killed more than 3,500 people. Most of the victims perished in the city of Ormoc, 350 miles southwest of Manila. The search continues for the 2,000 who are still missing but are now presumed dead. Throughout most of today, Philippine military planes arrived with supplies of food, blankets, and generators. Forecasters say the new storm, Typhoon Seth, could hit one of the islands by Monday. There were desperate screams of help from Vietnamese boat people who were forcibly deported from Hong Kong today. Many of Hong Kong's 59,000 Vietnamese strongly oppose returning to their communist homeland of Vietnam. And as Susan Reed reports, the first phase of this operation is raising concerns about human rights.
Hong Kong officials say a minimum of force was used and that it was well within reasonable limits. But the operation clearly did not go as well as hoped. In the first group of the 59 Vietnamese, there was strong resistance. 5 had to be carried on the plane after they tried to return to the bus. It took as many as 10 unarmed, plainclothes security officers to carry one Vietnamese man. At least a half dozen more resisted. When the second bus arrived, police formed a wall to block reporters' view, while many others were carried on quickly. Hong Kong officials say they are satisfied with this operation, their first mandatory repatriation in 2 years. But what matters now is whether the international community will agree that physically carrying Vietnamese aboard the plane preserves their dignity. Vietnam has threatened it will stop the program if force is used. The United States also rejects the use of force. Vietnam is eager to improve relations with Washington, so it will be very sensitive to U.S. reaction. But Hong Kong officials have already achieved a degree of success with this forced return. The number of new Vietnamese coming to Hong Kong has dwindled to nothing compared to the thousands who came last summer. Desperately poor farmers and fishermen in Vietnam now know they're no longer welcome here. Susan Reed for CNN in Hong Kong.
There's a lot more ahead on the 10 o'clock news. In Louisiana, people opposed a David Duke take to the streets.
And a little closer to home in Columbus, Ohio veterans of Operation Desert Storm get a big welcome home. Those stories and more when we return. Stay with us.
What makes up the Kronheim's Furniture shopping experience? First, hand-chosen quality furniture fashions. Then, more selection. Beautiful home furnishings in traditional, country, and contemporary styles. And finally, more quality, because Kronheim's Furniture prices are guaranteed to be the lowest, and the furniture is guaranteed to last. Kronheim's Furniture, more quality, more selection, more value. Since 1918, Kronheim's now.
Levy and Gruen, attorneys.
Hi, I'm Hal Levy. We've handled thousands of injury claims. Folks call us because they know we'll discuss and personally handle their case. At Levy and Gruen, you need no money to start your car accident or job injury claim.
I'm Mike Gruen. We're easy to reach with offices downtown at Southgate and in Willoughby. When you're hurt in a car accident, call Hal or me. When winning counts, count on Levy and Gruen.
Hi.
Hi.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
How old are you?
You don't really need to know.
Oh, please, for me? No? Well, would it help if I told you that the Huntington Club is offering a complete banking package, including no-fee checking, for people as young as 50?
50?
Yeah.
I don't have to be 60.
No, sounds like your kind of idea.
Yes, it does.
Plus, they'll give you your own personal banker.
Really?
Yeah. Now, doesn't sound like a smarter way to bank?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Especially that no-fee part.
Yeah, right.
Bernie, what are you going to do after football?
I haven't given it much thought.
Would you go into business for yourself?
I might, sure.
Would you join Cozy?
Of course. Are you kidding?
COSY is the Council of Smaller Enterprises. More than 10,000 business owners solving problems with the help of people who have solved them before. Call COSY at the Growth Association. We'll save you money and help your business grow. 621-3300.
That's 621-3300. A Milwaukee judge will allow a study to be done on the brain of confessed serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer. The judge has given permission to a court-appointed psychiatrist to do an electronic scan of Dahmer's brain to help determine if he were criminally insane during his admitted slayings of 17 people. The 31-year-old says he killed 17 boys and young men and then dismembered their bodies. The bodies were found in his Milwaukee apartment in July. Dahmer also told investigators that he killed his first victim in Ohio. That was Bath resident Stephen Hicks. Dahmer has pleaded innocent by reason of mental illness. Several mental health experts are expected to examine Dahmer before his trial scheduled to begin in January.